Feels good to be back. Feels a little bit good to be back. Not gonna lie, my boys. I know it's been a minute, a very, very, very hot minute since I've been back on the channel. You guys are probably wondering why I've had such a big time absence from the last time I uploaded till, well, now I'm kind of back. See, look, I was gonna make my return on December 24th, but then I watched the season finale of The Mandalorian Season 2, Chapter 16, The Rescue. And my boys, I went throughout the day today being like, I have to talk to somebody about this. I need to express myself. Twitter is not good enough. Instagram is not good enough. I got a channel with 3K subscribers. I miss my subs. Gotta let them know what I'm feeling, what I'm going through, my mindset right now. It is good to see you. I hope all of you guys have been healthy. I hope all of you guys have been safe. I hope all of you guys are having a very, very happy holidays. Cheers, my boys. This is gonna be kind of just like a low back, chill. I don't know if this is like a podcast. It's mostly a review of The Mandalorian. I'll get into more details why your boy was MIA for so long and why it took me a while to come back, and give you more insight on what the future is for this channel moving forward. I just wanted to express myself about this Mando series. If you watched the episode, you know what I'm talking about, man. First, before we jump into this, let's just say this was an absolute epic season of The Mandalorian. Jon Favreau has just done such an epic job with Star Wars, not just with Mando and Baby Yoda, aka Grogu, but I still call him Baby Yoda, but just Star Wars in general, my boys. And I'm gonna get into that right now. First, let's take a sip of the White Claw. Feels good to be back, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, let's jump right into this. The Mandalorian Season 2. Obviously, the episodes felt a little bit shorter. I thought they felt shorter because I thought because of the whole situation that's been going on in Hollywood, in the world, and everything. We all know about that. I don't want to bring that up right now. It's not about that for a second. Let's forget about 2020 and just jump right into this. I thought the episodes were shorter, but I went back to go see Season 1 the other day. And the episodes were about the same, between 30 and 45 minutes. I think I was just me wanting more from the Mandalorian series, especially now that we have to wait an entire year, literally an entire year. We don't get Season 3 until Christmas Day 2021. That's such an insane gap in between the series, but I understand it with the times being what they are now. You kind of have to leave a gap, in the way this episode left off, left so many doors open where they can go with. I have no idea, because this, I did not expect what we got today. This was absolutely epic, my boys. As a lifetime Star Wars fan, I can't even tell you the first time I watched Star Wars. I want to say 96 was like my first experience with Star Wars. Was like my first earliest memory was probably being at my grandparents' house with a bag of Doritos watching Empire Strikes Back on Channel 11. Here we are all these years later, and Star Wars is still bringing emotions and joy to your boy's life. Look, you guys should know by now the entire breakdown of this season. I just want to jump into Chapter 16, The Rescue, and how insane this was. I expected them to go all out. I just didn't expect them to literally unload everything at us. My boys, let me take you back to 2019. I was at the theater, The Rise of Skywalker. Now I'm going to be dead ass with y'all. After watching The Rise of Skywalker, it came to me a somber moment walking out of the theater. I watched the opening night, as much as you all did, and I just remember thinking, man, I feel kind of like Star Wars is sort of dead. The Skywalker saga has kind of ended in sort of a whimper. I don't want to get into the new trilogy because I know that opens a whole Pandora's box of opinions, depending on what spectrum you are when it comes to that trilogy. I know people that hate it, I know people that love it, I know people that are in between. So I don't want to open that Pandora's box. I just want to stick mainly with The Mandalorian. But I want to take you back to 2019, which was last December. Just feeling that Star Wars was kind of dead, and feeling that the Star Wars franchise really didn't have a direction to go in anymore. They were just kind of stuck in this gap of like, where do we go? How do we extend this? Is Rey Skywalker story's over? We kind of, spoiler, but I mean, you guys should have already seen The Rise of Skywalker. Why did we kill off Ben so quickly when we could have told a whole new story with Ben Solo and Rey Skywalker? And it's just, it felt like such a lackluster closure to a franchise that's been going on for decades. And I know The Mandalorian was already around last year, and I had high hopes for it, but at the same time, after watching how things unfolded with the new trilogy, I was kind of, hesitant to see what's next for Mando Season 2. But Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and your boy's kind of getting welled up a little bit. This may be a little bit dramatic. I'm going to say it, my boys. They saved Star Wars. They saved the Star Wars franchise. They brought it back from a grave that I didn't know it was capable of rising back to. And they did it. They accomplished something that was just so magical. And for a moment, for those 46 minutes of episode chapter 16, The Rescue, I felt like I was watching Star Wars for the first time. I felt like that kid that was sitting in front of the TV watching Empire Strikes Back, or that kid that went to the theaters to watch the original Star Wars trilogy back in the movie theaters. I feel like that kid that would demand to go on Star Tours at Disneyland every single time we went. To have that emotion again, in a year like this, in a year where we just want to forget this even happened, it felt just amazing. It felt epic. It just felt so gratifying, and just, I'm speechless still. And I watched the episode hours ago, and I was just so happy, man. I just couldn't believe it. For those few 46 minutes, I literally forgot about everything that was going on. I was just so entwined and so into the episode that nothing else mattered except what was going on in this chapter. From the new Terminator stormtroopers, which were fantastic. I love them. Very Terminator-esque. I like that they went from droids, which I'm talking about, kind of the dark side Empire stuff. They went from the droids in the prequels to the clone troopers after they turned Order 66. Now they're kind of hinting of going back to droids. Obviously, we know in The Force Awakens, they start kidnapping kids and just training them as stormtroopers. I love those Terminator droids, man. They were fantastic. They added a quality and added like a legitimate threat. Stormtroopers, they miss all the time. You had these like android stormtroopers, death troopers. They looked absolutely fantastic. But all leading up to that epic moment. We all know, obviously, Moff Gideon versus Mando, the Darksaber. That battle was absolutely fantastic. Obviously, that's going to be a big impact for Season 3. But it all boils up to that moment, my boys. We all know it. You all seen it, I'm sure, by now. The X-Wing flying in. Part of me felt like, okay, it could be Luke, and that would be epic. But there's just no way. How many times have we watched Star Wars and just thought they could do this, they could accomplish that, they could pull this off, and they never really do it. There's always just that tease. It's almost like a fan film where we want these certain moments to happen. And yeah, I understand it's fan service, but I kind of feel like Star Wars is built on fan service. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And the fan service doesn't work for all franchises. Star Wars, it's the one that it just unquestionably, it just works. For whatever reason it is, it just always works. And you see the X-Wing coming in the series. Spoilers, by the way. If you have not seen The Mandalorian Chapter 6, I don't know why you're even watching this review. By the way, it's good to be back. It's good to be home. If you have not watched it, don't watch the rest of this, because I'm going to bring up spoilers and just review it at my own pace. It feels weird to be back. It really does. Seeing the X-Wing fly in, man, my mind was like, that could be Luke, but I'm not going to get excited and blue ball myself, because I've done that before where I think something's going to happen and I get very excited in my head and then it doesn't happen, and then it ruins like the entire experience for me for whatever reason. Because it could have been a plethora of characters. We saw Mando run into those the New Republic starfighters earlier in the season. I believe it was episode 2 or 3, which was directed by the same director who directed this episode. He also directed Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp, Peyton Reed, I believe. So I thought maybe they could just be, backup from the New Republic. Man, you see the Dark Cloak, you see the Return of the Jedi outfit. The moment you see the green lightsaber on your screen, it's literally Star Wars Nirvana. Without a doubt, that moment encapsulated so much for me as a fan, and I'm sure it did for a lot of people. I'm sure it encapsulated a plethora of things for so many people who have been hardcore Star Wars fans for so long, and the last few years have not been great. It felt like that was the reward. It felt like that was the payoff. I remember for years, way before they ever said that they were going to bring back Star Wars, way before Disney purchased Lucasfilm, the great, powerful Kevin Smith, Silent Bob himself, on his own podcast mentioned how epic it would be if they ever did a new chapter of Star Wars, how crazy it would be to see Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, not just Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, OP Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. I'm talking about what we saw today in The Mandalorian. I remember one of the things Kevin Smith said, like, how epic would it be just to see Luke Skywalker use the Force as the most powerful Jedi and bring a Star Destroyer down just with the Force. Would have been an epic scene. We didn't get that. We kind of got a taste of it in this episode. You see the green lightsaber. You see him just smoothly, like a seasoned veteran, just cut through all these androids, black troopers, one by one. And you get the hallway shot. And the hallway shot, as we all know, we got it in Rogue One, which is a beautiful movie. We now have the Vader hallway scene where he just cuts through people and it looks like a horror movie. And now we have the Luke Skywalker hallway scene where he just goes Jedi berserkness and in all its glory. I could not have been any happier. I was on FaceTime with somebody watching with them because they wanted to see my reaction. I watched it about, I want to say like 1 p.m. today. Was off my phone completely because I had gotten a message like probably 1 a.m. last night just being like, yo dude, game changer. Didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to get my hopes up just to get disappointed. They were right. For those few minutes, man, it was literally just being in Star Wars paradise. I cannot explain really more than just sitting there and experiencing it and just being like, wow, this is what I felt when I watched Empire Strikes Back and when we watched Darth Vader versus Luke in Cloud City. That was that feeling. But to have all the things that have happened since then, thinking that we'll probably never see this again. We'll probably never get to experience that epic moment of seeing Luke Skywalker back. To see it again was just unbelievable. And it made me be so happy for Star Wars and the fandom, which has been toxic for the last few years. It just made me so happy that I love this franchise, man. I've always loved it. And to have that, it was just unbelievable. I cannot explain to you any better other than it was just fantastic. And yes, I know somebody's probably going to point this out. This is, I buy the stupidest stuff, my boys. This is a Joker Grogu plush toy that I found on Amazon like a few months ago. And the boy had to cop. The boy had to cop. Who would have thought, man? Grogu, dude. What a season, what a story. We see the return of Boba Fett, which was fantastic, obviously. The end credit scene where he's pretty much now Don Boba Fett because he's going to take over Tatooine and just be the gang leader of all of them. It's kind of like the Godfather now. He's pretty much the Godfather of Tatooine. And what was it called? The Book of Boba Fett, I believe, which is now going to come also December 2021. So that's going to be very interesting as well. Next December, not only do we get season 3 of The Mandalorian, which I'm pretty sure is going to take, it's going to be interesting to see how they play it. I'll get into that right now. And we're also going to get the book of Boba Fett, which is also releasing in December. It's going to be interesting to see which days they do, how they work that schedule out. We're also getting Star Wars The Bad Batch, which is being ran by Dave Filoni. I'm not sure when the Ahsoka series is supposed to come out. And obviously, the big news that we got, like I think a week ago, about Obi-Wan and Hayden Christensen coming back as Darth Vader. I'm telling you, man, right now is probably my favorite time being a Star Wars fan since The Force Awakens. It's just that joy, man. I haven't been this happy with Star Wars, like completely joyful about Star Wars since probably the night I watched Force Awakens, and it's probably the most epic Star Wars scenes that I've ever seen since Revenge of the Sith, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, not just in Star Wars, but in general. I'm a big fan. The Shakespearean the way they told that story is just unbelievably amazing. But let's get back to this chapter 16, man. Just from the whole season in general, from Boba Fett's return to Ahsoka making her live action appearance and leading up to mentioning Emperor Thrawn, which means we're probably going to get Ezra. We're most likely going to get Ezra live action as well. The floodgates are open. The floodgates are absolutely busted open, pause, for the Star Wars genre. It's something where I did not anticipate back in last December. Depressed Star Wars fans, like, it's over, it's done. They've shut the book on any potential, and who knew that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were pretty much writing the next chapter of Star Wars in all its glory. And it makes me excited as a fan. It makes me excited as just what is next, what the future holds. Now, as for season 3 of The Mandalorian, because the first thing I see from everybody is like, how can you separate Grogu and Mando? By the way, also bawled my eyes out when Grogu's telling him to take the helmet off, and we see beautiful Pedro Pascal, who I'm sure is going to absolutely kill it in Wonder Woman 84. He takes the helmet off finally. Well, not finally, but more of a, like, it was more of a great way, because the last 2 times we see him take the helmet off, one, he was almost dying and the robot had to save him. The second time was because he was panicking. He had to, like, scan his face when they were trying to get the coordinates to Moff Gideon's ship. But this one, it was just like such a sweet moment, because that's his kid, that's his son, and to Grogu, that's his Papa Pedro. That's his dude, that's his padre, man. And separating the two of them, it's just like, damn, what's next? And I totally, from that moment on, I remember the Darksaber. Once Luke kicks in and he shows up, I forget everything else. Like, everything becomes a blur. I completely forget that Mando is now pretty much the leader of Mandalore. Like, he could sit on the throne. And I know that's going to probably be a big thing in the next season, because Bo-Katan, she believes that's rightfully hers. And even though she's lost it twice, I'm just saying, or one time. Her sister lost it once. I know Darth Maul had it. She won it back, and then obviously she lost it again to Moff Gideon. We don't know the backstory on that. We could probably get that at some point in the spin-off, but it opens the door for season 3 to be that. And here's a thing, this is not confirmed. This is not from any sources. I'm just throwing a theory out there for y'all. My first thought as well, when everything was happening, when Anakin takes Grogu, when Luke takes, I'm very excited about Anakin Hayden Christensen coming back, so excuse me, but when Luke takes Grogu with him, my first thought is, I really hope that Ben Solo isn't one of the reasons that Grogu is RIP at some point. I'm just saying, man, if you follow the lineage and the story, unless we're just wiping off and fixing whatever the new trilogy was, there's so many things that could happen now, especially with Filoni and Favreau and kind of in charge now, doing their thing with Lucasfilms. My biggest question takeaway, it's like, I know because by the time, there's just so many questions, because if he takes him now, I guess he would be more of an adult or teenage 20s Grogu, but obviously he would be like 150 actual, like in Yoda's age type of thing, because they age differently. But the biggest factor in all that is, like, what if Ben or Kylo Ren killed Grogu? Or what if in season 3, or maybe even season 4, maybe they extended, maybe season 3 is all about the Darksaber, and maybe season 4 we get a kind of a time jump and we go to the events that took place when Ben Solo turns into Kylo Ren, burning down the new Jedi Temple, because obviously Grogu would have to have been there. Maybe Mando goes back to save him. There's so many, dude, there's so many possibilities. And that's the one thing I love about these spin-offs, is that not only do they sew things in together, they also open doors for brand new possibilities, things that we never thought we would be able to see in the past, but now we're going to be able to see. It's a fantastic feeling. And that's the thing I miss the most about Star Wars, is just the utter excitement of what's next. Where can they go with this? What trajectory can we fly to now, with all these different little doors opening? And it's all thanks to The Mandalorian. It really is. It's all coming off of the back of The Mandalorian, and it's just a whole new world of Star Wars events I don't think any of us really thought we were going to get at any point. But here we are, and it's coming, my boys, and I'm very excited about that. So we will see how things end up, man. But I would just say I was absolutely thrilled. It's been, we all know how crazy this year has been, my boys. It has been just a roller coaster of events. I'll be dead ass with y'all. Mostly a lot of things that happened this year were probably the reasons why he stepped away from this platform. A lot of other reasons were just, copyrights and just things like that. I will get to that in another video and explain that more. But just to have those moments of joy and just to be able to forget about things and just go back into what Star Wars truly was, which was storytelling. That's what Star Wars was and always has been, and fan service, as much as people may hate it, it's back to what it used to be, and I cannot be any happier. I just wanted to share my thoughts about what I witnessed today, because it was just a joy, man. It was an absolute joy. I don't know what's next for the Mandalorian other than the Darksaber and Mandalore. And maybe we see Grogu somewhere down the line. Maybe we see him as a full-time Jedi Knight at some point in the future. I don't see Disney or Disney Plus, stepping away from Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian anytime soon. It just would not make any sense for them to do so. They are making an absolute bank with this character. Star Wars has really been the key factor to Disney Plus just killing it right now. I think the last they had said was they had 86 million subscribers on their platform, which is insane. They are very quickly beating the expectations of Netflix. The streaming wars, man, they're insane. And I'm sure Marvel is also gonna really unload some insane content. The biggest thing about what they did today in this series finale of our season finale of The Mandalorian was just, it opens the doors for so many possibilities, my boys. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, you could sit there and be like, man, if they're gonna bring Luke Skywalker into a season finale of a spin-off, technically, of a series, you can only imagine what they're gonna do for the other Star Wars series and then the Marvel series. Like, they're all in. They are invested in Disney Plus, and I know streaming has a lot of negative connotations sometimes by some people, but they're all in, man. It's interesting, man. It was one of the best moments of this year, other than the Lakers winning the championship, like I told you also a few months ago. I'm just saying. But also, it was probably just, it was a joyful occasion. It was probably one of my favorite moments of this year, hands down. I have to rewatch it a few times just to make sure that what we saw took place. I've already watched like so many damn reactions. By the way, I know you guys want reactions. Again, we were going to talk about the future at another date. The plan was, we're already like 22 minutes into this review, give you guys a little heads up of the things that are happening. Here's the thing. I was going to make my YouTube return on the 24th. And yeah, I know a lot of things have happened on the YouTube platform, a lot of videos that you guys have wanted me to react to or just watch. Wrestling, to me, is just like, it's hit or miss when it comes to wrestling nowadays. AEW is still killing it. The whole Kenny Omega heel turned world champion, that's fantastic. The Sting and AEW stuff is crazy cool. And we'll probably get into the wrestling bag at some point. I'm still working with Gold Coast Federation as a commentator, so that's still going on behind the scenes. One of the other big things as well, I know you guys wanted me to react, I believe, to some of the Merkin stuff. I'll get to that at some point as well. There's going to be a big time more attention to podcasting and stuff like that. I'll get to all that information to a later date, but mostly this video is just needed to share my opinion about what I thought about this episode, because I could not be any happier as a fan, as a longtime fan, as somebody who legitimately, as shameful as this might sound, I'm probably gonna get this for that, I kind of gave up on the franchise for a moment, and I never thought that I would ever be able to have that moment again, because I felt there were so many missed opportunities in the original, or not the original, but the new trilogy, that they could have accomplished, that were there but not truly there. And it felt like a little bit of a gut punch. But to have it happen on The Mandalorian, couldn't be happier, my boys. It was a joyous occasion. Honestly made my Christmas. I'm not even asking for that much this year. That made it, man. Just seeing that whole entire scene. You could play that scene in loop and I would probably get the same reaction. It was just insane. And I can't stop, talking about it. It was just really absolutely fantastic, and I just missed having that feeling, my boys. It was great. If you guys watched it, obviously, if you're into this and you haven't watched it, I don't know why the hell you're watching a review for it, but if you did watch it, let me know what your thoughts were about it. What did you think about the return of Luke Skywalker? What do you think is next for Mando? What do you think is next for any of this stuff going on. Another big thing, the Empire still kind of won. I know we won as fans, you know, because we got to see Luke again. But I mean, the way I assume it is, they already got the blood of Grogu, and pretty much from everything that we've seen in this season, they've mentioned Order like 3 times in this new season, is that the Empire is already making its plans for the First Order. They already have the blood necessary to create Snoke, even though I feel like creating Snoke at this point, or trying to have a backstory for Snoke at this point, is kind of redundant because we already saw what happens in The Last Jedi. So it's kind of like, I kind of would have preferred if they're going that trajectory with like, we're creating Snoke, that it's kind of like a failed experiment of trying to bring back Palpatine, that they're trying to find ways to bring back the Emperor, but Snoke is like Frankenstein kind of freaky incident where he was supposed to be the final result of the return of Palpatine, but it ended up not working for them, so they had to like make, you know, different plans, and they ended up with Snoke. And that's what I hope is the final outcome to that, because it just, with Snoke, there was potential, and then whatever happened, and then we're kind of just like, And now that they're doing it, and even Moff Gideon's pretty much like, I already got his blood, you can leave. For whatever reason, he wanted the Darksaber the most. Well, obviously controls Mandalore and the majority of the Mandalorians, even though the whole time I'm watching the show, I'm like, why is Bo-Katan so obsessed with Mandalore? You've lost it so many times. You lost it to Darth Maul, you lost it in the Mandalore Civil War, you lost it to Clone Troopers, you lost it to the Empire. Like, God, give up Mandalore, find a new home, get the Darksaber and get out of there. Will be interesting to see how they play through that relationship between Bo-Katan and Mando, because I mean, if she's really desperate for it, maybe she turns heel. Maybe she turns heel and maybe tries to attack or assassinate the Mandalorian. I do wonder if he takes the throne. So many doors open with this episode, my boys. I'm just, as a Star Wars fan, I cannot be any happier. Just so much joy, grinning from ear to ear. They absolutely did an amazing, fantastic job and just killed it. And I couldn't be any happier. So Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, thank you. You brought me back to being a child watching Empire Strikes Back. This was one of the greatest Star Wars experiences of all time. Of all time. It's up there, my boys. It's top 5, guaranteed. One of the most rewatchable, one of the greatest moments. It's going to be something that we're talking about for years and years and years and years. It's going to age perfectly. I know there are some questions about Luke Skywalker's CGI'd face, and my big thing, I didn't mind it. I don't think it looked good as Tarkin's did in Rogue One, or even Leia's did at the end of Rogue One. I thought from, like, I think some people took screenshots, obviously, of the final product, and when you zoom into it, it's rough on the edges, but it's passable when you're just watching it and experience it. It passed. I know a lot of people are like, they should have got Sebastian Stan to be Luke Skywalker, because him and Mark Hamill look very similar. But I think Sebastian's just like, come on, man, how could it be Luke after Return of the Jedi? It wouldn't make any sense. And I'm not just going to be a stand-in replacement for Luke Skywalker when, like, it's not the same. When they did the Han Solo movie, that was a prequel to even before we get to see Han in episode 4. You can't really have a prequel of Luke Skywalker because Sebastian, for one, is not young enough, and number 2, we get Luke at like a teenage farm boy, and we see his growth between episode 4, 5, and 6. Like, bringing in Sebastian for a series after 6 just kind of looks weird, and like, you would have to get Mark Hamill to voice him. It would just be very weird. And I'm sure he's like, look, man, I'm Bucky. I'm in the MCU. I've been in all these successful MCU movies. Why would I want to be a Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker standing? Because that's pretty much what it would be if Sebastian took that role. I don't think they should ever do that. I think the CGI, sure, it's not for everybody. It wasn't the greatest, but it was passable, and it looked good to me in the essence of the scene, especially with them having the cloak on. I dug it. He shows up to Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi, pretty much the same getup, the cloak and the black gear. He still had the glove on. It from just through and through, it just looked great. And I think just it was very nitpicky to be like, the CGI is not completely perfect. Yeah, it wasn't on Tarkin's level, Rogue One, but it was passable. And it's Luke Skywalker, and it sounded like Luke, and he had the green lightsaber, and he was wearing the Return of the Jedi attire, and it was just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Perfection, my boys. What else would you want? That's literally everything and anything that I would want as a Star Wars fan. It's everything that we've always wanted to see from Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, and we got it. And yeah, sure, I would love to see him train Grogu, because obviously Grogu is probably going to become another powerful Jedi, and I would love to see how that story continues. And maybe we'll find out. I am gonna bet pretty good money that we will find out at some capacity, either in season 4 or 5, or maybe season 3. I doubt season 3, but maybe in the future we're gonna have to find out, and we're gonna have to see the reunion of Papa Pedro and Grogu, aka Baby Yoda. I still like Baby Yoda, but Grogu, Papa Pedro, they got to reunite at some point, because it just has to happen. Other than that, my boys, just a very, very, very quick review. I will be back on the 24th with more news about what the future is for this channel in particular. I know you guys have a lot of questions. I will answer a lot of them on the 24th of December. As always, I hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy. I know this year is almost finally coming to an end, thank God. But yeah, just stay safe. I hope all of you guys have a happy holidays. I will see you guys on the 24th with a kind of, it's not like a major announcement, but it is kind of a big deal for the future of this channel. If you subscribe to this channel, you want to know what's going to happen next. If anything else major drops, I know I probably will be doing a Wonder Woman 1984 review. If you're waiting for Wonder Woman, and I know it's going to be on HBO Max, which, by the way, what are your thoughts about that? What are your thoughts about HBO and Warner Brothers pretty much unleashing the entire films that they have going on next year on HBO Max? There's a lot of people against it. Personally, I think, look, if a movie theater is closed in your area, you should be allowed to watch it on HBO Max. If things are better where you live and you're able to go to the theaters, experience at the theaters, it just depends where you're at. And it feels like guys like Christopher Nolan and a lot of these directors aren't seeing the entire picture. We saw what happened to Tenet. You know, they released it during the heart of the pandemic, and it flamed out. It bombed because LA was closed, and that market's huge, and so is New York, and that's another big market. And Christopher Nolan's like, yeah, my movie didn't do well. Well, Nolan, you forced Warner Brothers to release Tenet. If you would have waited to the following year, even though there's going to be a lot of competition next year, your movie probably would have done better. But there's still a global thing going on where it affects the movie theaters the chains around the world, especially in LA, in the States, LA being the biggest market of them all. And one of the big things is I heard like some of the theaters are saying that like the Warner Brothers movies are thinking of slashing the tickets to like $3 or $5, which in hindsight is bad for the business, but smart for the theater chains, because they're trying to sell popcorn and, you know, the concession stands, which is where they really make their bank. So it's going to be interesting. It's a big, messy mess with the movie industry, but that's the times we live in right now. It's just a weird time to be alive, pretty much, and we just don't know what the plan is through and through. But my boys, it is good to be back. It feels weird to be on camera. It's been a hot minute. It's gonna be weird editing this and uploading this on the channel, but I will talk to you guys soon. Stay safe. If you have not watched The Mandalorian, if you want to get into The Mandalorian, if the new trilogy completely tore your heart and turned you off from Star Wars, my advice to you, watch The Mandalorian, fall in love with Star Wars again, and you will not regret it, because it will make everything that you loved about Star Wars back to life. And it was a fantastic experience. I'm actually gonna, when I'm done editing this, I'm probably gonna watch it again just to see that epic scene, even though it's already over YouTube. I've been watching so many reactions, man. The reactions online right now are just beautiful. Man, The Mandalorian Season 2 is in the books. Season 3 next December 2021. Wonder Woman 84, not this Friday, but the following Friday, the 25th. I'm gonna watch that also in the morning and then do a review for that one. So you'll probably get 2 videos next week, one during Christmas Eve, just kind of talking about all the things that's next for the channel, and then the 25th I'm going to drop my Wonder Woman 84 review. So those are some things to look forward to. Obviously, if you want to unsubscribe because it's not what you subscribe to the channel for, and you guys are looking for reactions, I completely understand, but there will be announcements and more to come about this channel for the future, for 2021. That video dropping next Thursday. My boys, it is good to be back. I hope you guys are all staying safe. Have a happy holidays. I will see you guys soon. I'll see you guys on the other side. Too sweet.